The entirety of Presence, and I mean every second of it, is shot in POV. More specifically, it's shot in a ghost's POV.
You have a presence here. It's trying to figure you out. It's trying to connect to you.
We've all seen the memes that say, POV, me doing XYZ. Well, a POV is an acronym, meaning point of view. In film, using the camera can almost literally put you into the eyeballs of someone's point of view. One medium that uses POV all the time and does it incredibly well is video games. If you've played something like Halo, Call of Duty, or any first-person shooter, you've played from your character's POV.
Motoneural demyelination, or to the layman, Duke Nukem's disease.
In video games, it's supposed to help the audience playing feel more immersed in the action. If we're shooting grunts from Master Chief's POV, we naturally feel like we are Master Chief. Exacerbated by him talking hardly at all, allowing us to further put ourselves in his shoes. It's a smart way of pushing the player to not just play the game, but to feel like we are experiencing it. We are the ones saving the world. We are the ones in the airport.
Remember, no Russian.
So why do this for a film? Since the audience isn't actively controlling the action, what purpose would it serve for a movie? That's a complicated question with a murky answer. One of the most famous examples of this is Hardcore Henry, a balls-to-the-wall action movie shot entirely in POV on a GoPro. In this case, the purpose was to simulate a first-person shooter. The entire point of the film is to be a fun action movie that parodies video games to a certain extent, and it does a solid job of just that.
Right, Private. It is our duty to ensure that no harm comes to the cripple. Understood?
It has all the tropes you could ask for. Enemies spawning from seemingly nowhere, death-defying set pieces, a protect the VIP mission, and even the player, Henry, spinning in circles, looking up at the sky. Many films have tried to be video games or parody video games, but shooting Hardcore Henry in POV makes it one of the few that did it successfully. Presence is another matter entirely. It's not a video game, nor is it parodying video games, and the ghost isn't really a character we're particularly attached to, at least not yet. However, Presence is something of a parody. It's kind of a haunted house parody, actually.
First of all, Cece says that there have never been any reports of any incidents like this in our house before, ever. And she is bound by law to tell us if there were.
You son of a bitch, you left the bodies and you only moved the headstones! You only moved the headstones!
The basic premise is something you'd see in any haunted house movie. A young family moves into a new house and a ghost slowly starts making spooky shit happen. Not unlike The Conjuring, or Sinister, or Poltergeist, or any spooky haunted house movie in that similar vein. Where Presence turns things on its head is how it's presented. It's not all contrasty and desaturated like The Conjuring. In fact, it's pretty bright and lively, using a lot of natural and diegetic light in the scenes. Plus, it's not telling the backstory of the ghost through tapes in the attic like Sinister. And it's absolutely not showing anything from the family's perspective. No, the entire film is told from the first-person point of view of the ghost haunting the house. A risky and bold choice that completely changes the tone of the film itself from potentially spooky to cold and meditative. Since our ghost can only observe and occasionally throw or move things, the majority of the film features the ghost simply hovering between rooms, using its ghostliness to eavesdrop on private conversations.
No, I haven't felt or sensed anything unusual here. Do you mean like
A presence.
No.
Doing this allows for two things. One, we get to creep on intimate conversations that so often are kept from us in real life. Parents talking about their feelings towards their kids, or one of the kids talking about the tragedy of their friends dying with their boyfriend, or a mother admitting to her son she loves him more than her daughter.
I've never felt this close to another human being ever.
What about Chloe?
Yeah, no, of course, it's It's just different.
It allows us to learn about the family and the dynamic of that family in a way that feels natural. One character will storm out of the room with their family after a heated conversation, and the ghost has to choose if they want to stay or follow that person if they want to know something, giving us moments that happen in every household, whether we are aware of it or not. Every parent talks about their kids. Every kid talks about their parents. And everyone ends up yelling at each other one time or another, just like every happy family.
I know that word. What does that mean?
It's the fear of being forgotten or ignored, and I can feel it. It's here, in the house.
Oh, for Christ's sake, seriously, what the fuck?
And two, beyond the private and intimate moments we're creeping on, setting all of this in POV forces us to consider the ghost as someone rather than something. It forces us to acknowledge the ghost as a person and question why they're doing the things they're doing. It puts us in its shoes. Would we destroy a room if we were a ghost? Would we help clean up somebody's room? Would we eavesdrop on private conversations? And why? The POV forces us to consider motivation, and more specifically, the motivation of the ghost.
How'd the picture get out? What? That's
Well, yeah.
Wait.
It wasn't me.
Why am I getting in trouble for this?
Neither one of you should have something like that.
Everyone and everything has motivation. It's a critical part of life. On a fundamental level, animals will hunt, breed, or fight to survive, and every action they take is motivated by one of those things. Humans are naturally more complicated, but we are all motivated by something, whether it's a desire to be successful in our field, or strike up a relationship with a partner, or go to a Utah hockey club game.
Clayton Keller for Sergachev.
Everything's motivated by something. It could be status, fame, riches, love, stability, or entertainment. They're all reasons for us to do certain things. Bringing us back to the question, why would a ghost trash someone's room? This is motivation that, until the very end, is skillfully kept a secret by shooting this all in POV. If it were shot more traditionally, this room trashing scene would look like the ghost doing evil and crooked things, as you would expect it to. But when you shoot everything from the ghost POV, it changes that. Being able to see that it's listening to a conversation and then taking action to destroy Tyler's room forces you to question what its motivation is. Tyler's being a dick, so does it want to teach him a lesson, or is it something else? We'll get into that soon with the ending, but when the ending communicates that motivation as clearly as it does, the next question naturally becomes, who is the ghost?
It's her. It's Nadia.
Now, if you haven't seen the film, remember these next few scenes. They're very important to understanding the film as a whole. This is where some cliches of the haunted house genre are flipped on their heads. In most haunted house films, you'll have a medium come to the house and get freaked out. But here, a medium comes to feel it out. And unlike the Warrens in The Conjuring, this medium isn't frightened by some demon. She's fascinated by a confused being, lost somewhere in time, unclear of what its purpose is. Later, the same medium returns to the house, warning of some window she saw in a vision.
Because of something that hasn't happened yet. Something bad.
That's not really helpful.
Because of a window that doesn't open.
I'm sorry.
The window. I saw a window.
Even more interesting is when the real estate agent says that no one has ever died in the house. These few nuggets give us the groundwork to suggest that the ghost might be someone that died in the future, set back in the past, to accomplish some kind of mission it's not aware of yet. Bringing us to the end. An absolutely heartbreaking and haunting last 10-minute show Chloe's boyfriend as the killer of her friends.
You want to feel what Nadia felt?
He drugs her and attempts to suffocate her before Tyler inadvertently sacrifices himself to save her. He tackles the kid, sending both of them falling headfirst from a third-story window. The ghost's true identity is revealed shortly after as none other than Tyler himself, sent back in time to save his own sister's life.
Oh, he saved you.
The reveal is so powerful because it took its time to set up the dynamic between the family, the parents, the kids, and then the kids themselves. In life, they simply didn't see eye to eye. Tyler was a popular jock whose only motivation was being as cool as possible, while Chloe was left traumatized by the death of her friend and only wanted to heal. This reveal recontextualizes the entire film. Knowing that the ghost is Tyler not only makes the motivation of him as the ghost very clear, but it also makes every scene so much more tragic. To prove it, let's look back on some examples we used earlier with this new knowledge. The ghost helps straighten Chloe's room. Why? Probably because Tyler wants to make some amends for how he treated her in life. Tyler trashes his own room because he can't stand his own attitude. And he wants to eavesdrop on conversations because he wants to hear what his own family has to say about him and his sister, who he only wants the best for now. It's absolutely haunting. I've got goosebumps literally right now just talking about it. And it's all because of the way it's shot. Without the ghost POV, none of this would work. It skillfully uses a technique rarely utilized in film to not only give us vital information, but keep a similar amount of information hidden until the bitter end. Who the ghost is as important to the story as what the ghost does, and it holds those cards very close to the chest, making sure you understand the family dynamic before you understand the ghost. Sure, knowing who the ghost is completely changes the film for the better, but if we had known who it was too early, it probably would have lessened the impact of the family drama leading up to the reveal. And making this film 100% POV could have easily been a gimmick that this film just didn't need to have. So many gimmick films are like that. They don't need to have their gimmick, but this one does it with such intention and purpose that this one choice becomes critical to the film as a whole and to every minute detail in it.